So here's another one, guys. Project on this one. Fenders rotted out. They want some custom fabricated fenders. So these ones seems like they didn't have any support. It was just some thin sheet metal kind of thing. So I think what I'm gonna do on this one is I'm gonna try and frame them out of this kind of pipe. Probably make a bend and bend the shape of the fender. And yeah, let's just get some materials and try and roll with it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try and get some measurements on this guy. It looks like 7 feet and 4 inches should be a pretty good start. The next thing I'm gonna find is where this fender starts to bend. So I'm gonna measure up from the base of the mount and come up to the top of the fender and make a flat point on where the bend would start. And that's just around 18 inches. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get a piece of pipe. We're gonna cut it 7 feet 4 inches. We're gonna measure up 18 inches on both sides and start a bend and try and follow the same angle that the old fender's at and adjust as we need. Let's get some metal and get started. Okay, so we got a piece of 3/4 inch MPT and we're gonna measure 7 feet 4 inches like we talked about earlier. So I'm just measuring down to my 7 feet 4 inch mark. I'm gonna mark it. I'm just showing you that you don't need expensive tools, any special shop or anything to get jobs done. You can just do it what you got. So now I'm gonna cut the pipe on this 7 feet 4 inch mark. I'm going to measure up 18 inches on both ends, and that's where we're going to start our bend. So now I'm just gonna find the appropriate size die. This is on hydraulic bender, and it's nothing special. It's just one of those cheap hydraulic benders you can get for around $100-200. I think this thing was like $180 on Amazon. So now I'm lining up my 18-inch mark with the center mark on the bender. I'm going to start my bend. just make a test bed and carry it over and try to fit it on the old fender and just try to copy the same angle as the old fender. So that looks about the angle that the fender was. The good thing about working in metal is if you overbend it, you can always bend it back a little, you know, bend it more. So these benders, the die has a tendency to get stuck to the pipe. Just take a hammer and tap it off. So let's go do a test fit. So here we are back at the trailer. Let's just do a quick test and see how the bend fits. If we need to bend it more, bend it back. That looks just about perfect. Now we just replicate the same thing on the other side, and that should be great. Cut this old fender off and get it mounted up. Okay, so now we're back here at the bender. You know, this bend that we made earlier it's pretty close. So I'm gonna bend the other side, try to copy the same angle. And because it's a cheap economy bender, there's no gauge on anything. You just gotta go by eye. And what I'm trying to show you guys with these stuff is you don't need expensive tools to get the jobs done. So sliding the pipe back in the bender, lining up my 18-inch mark. And now I'm gonna apply some pressure and just snug it in just a little. And at this point here, you can adjust the pipe just to make sure you get it pretty much square. You want the two bends coming up, going across and down, so they both have they're both lined up. That's about right. I'll try to give it a shot and bend it, see how it goes. Looks like it's a little off. So I'm gonna shift this. So we're just applying some pressure to the pipe, rocking it a little bit, and I'm able to move it and get it back lined up where I want it. I'm going to try and apply some more pressure to it. See how the bend goes. There you go. So yeah, as I start this bend, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at trying to get it lined up. So I'm just making sure the bend is going in the right angle and they're both lined up. I'm just going to continue this bend. And once I get it to where it looks like it's the angle, a little trick that I learned. It's nothing technical. You don't need no fancy device to measure angle. You can get two pieces of pipe, a pin, a bar. In this case, I'll use an old Sawzall blade and the handle from the jack. And what I'll do is I'll just put it on top of the pipe, copy the angle, take it to the other side, check if it's the same. So as you see, this is the angle from that side. I just put it on the bender. Wow, lined up perfectly. Yeah, it looks like it's about the same. So We're gonna get this one out of the bender and replicate this 3 more times so you get 4 pieces total. So I noticed these mounts while trying to line this pipe up for the framing of the new fender. I noticed that the angle iron brackets are a little too narrow. So we're gonna have to widen this up and just add another piece on top of it and bring it out in line with the outside edge of the tire. So I'm gonna cut some pieces of metal. I'm gonna measure this and see how wide that is, how wide I want it, and just cut a piece of metal and weld it on. Okay, and there we go, guys. We got 4 pieces. The angle's all pretty close. Like I said, the good thing about working with metal, everything doesn't need to be perfect. After you got it tacked on, you can bend a little bit more, make little adjustments, and yeah. So now let's get some little pieces of angle iron. I think I got some scrap angle iron laying around, and we'll extend those brackets and try and get these all tacked up and see how they fit. Okay, guys, so I got 4 pieces of some scrap angle iron. I think this is like 2-inch angle, and what I'm gonna do is, since this angle irons are a little too short for the fenders, I'm gonna just take another piece, place it right on top, and just run a couple beads of weld on there and there at the bottom, and attach that on and mount our pipe onto that angle iron. Okay, guys, so you might not be able to hear me, but we got a generator on. I'm gonna just touch this with the grinder, grind off the metal, clean it up a little bit, cutting off the piece a little bit, and weld it on. Okay, guys, so this is how it's sitting on the trailer. So what I did is I put a magnet to hold it upright, make sure it's in the right angle. I'm gonna tack it on, then grab the next one, measure equal amount of distance right to the edge of the tire, and tack that one on too. Okay, guys, here's the finish piece of the pipes welded on, brackets on. Okay, so now the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take some scrap pieces of metal. We're gonna probably cut it off right there and there, and use this tack weld it on and use it to mount some wood on the top to make the fender. Okay, guys, so here we are back at the trailer. So as you can see, we got the framing all welded in, we got brackets all welded in. Okay, so the next step is I cut a piece of 2x10 at 45-degree angles on 2 sides, and next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark the bracket holes from the bottom. Then I'm going to drill the board. And then I'm going to bolt them down with carriage bolts. And yeah, once you get the two sides bolted down, I'll show you guys where we're at. And we're probably going to put maybe metal or wood on the front side too. And yeah, let's get that done and move on to the next step. Okay guys, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the mounts for the bolts. So now we got the marks marked out. Let's go get them drilled out and be right back. Okay guys, so we have a 5/16 drill bit because we're going to be using 5/16 carriage bolts for mounting these. So I'm just going to center the bit on the mark. One hole. And there you go. I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side of the board and take them back over there and make sure it fits and start bolting it on. Okay guys, so we got these carriage bolts here. I'm using 5/16 carriage bolts. You're going to need a hammer to install them and a socket. This is 1/2 inch. So when you drill the holes, you're going to drill them 5/16. It's going to be a little snug going in, but that's what you want because these carriage bolts has a square head that sinks into the wood and it's like self-holding on the top, so when you tighten the bottom it doesn't spin. Get that one lined up. Get our next one. Okay. So we got that two lined up. So now we're going to place a washer on the bottom. And the nut. I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. I'm going to place the washer on the next one and the nut. Okay. I'm just going to snug this guy down a little bit. And we're gonna repeat the same process on this side. Okay guys, and there it is. That's the finished fenders. So I ended up using wood for the whole thing. The customer wanted to keep the cost down, so yeah, we built it economy way. Has a pipe framing with wood top. And you can see this thing it's solid. You can walk on that. Yeah, so the next step is we're just gonna paint it up with some Rust-Oleum gloss black brush, and yeah, let's get this bugger a little bit more shiny. Alright guys, and there you have it. Painting done, fenders done. So the next step is gonna be put the wood sidings back on and get this back to the customer. And another one down guys. On to the next job.